What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's September 10th. You know what that means? That means 19 years ago today, Mr. Warmonger Donald Rumsfeld admitted in front of Congress of all places, to $2.3 trillion, that's trillion with a T, of unaccounted for money from the Pentagon budgets. And of course, the next day, somehow 2 planes took down 3 towers in New York. They fell at free fall speed into their own footprint, and everybody seemed to forget about what was admitted the day prior. Huh, how convenient. But I don't forget. I'm telling everybody everywhere today because I feel like we deserve to know where the heck that money went. Where'd it go? Deep underground military bases, secret space programs, some other secretive operations being conducted by the deep state? Who knows? But I think we deserve to know. Anyway, guys, we're going to get into some news stories from yesterday and today. We got a handful of Q posts to cover. I want to cover AstraZeneca's failing vaccine gave somebody an adverse reaction. Now they actually have to halt the trials of their coronavirus vaccine. Big surprise. And we got a few other news stories too. So sit back, buckle up, let's get rolling. Our sponsor for today's video is the product ESS60. C60, or carbon-60, is a tiny molecule composed of 60 carbon atoms arranged in a sphere. And it's also known as a buckyball or fullerene, after the geodesic domes of famous inventor Buckminster Fuller. It acts as an electron reservoir that neutralizes free radicals, and some studies have shown C60 to have almost hundreds of times the antioxidant capacity as vitamin C. This is a purified C60 oil blend that comes in 3 organic options: avocado, olive, and coconut oil. You can mix it on your salad, rub it on your steak, dip your bread in it, or like many users of C60, just take it straight off the spoon. If you'd like to try the ESS60 blend in your daily routine, you can find it at oliveoil60.com. Alright guys, I want to let you know about one thing before we get into Q's drops, and that is a video that I uploaded to jordansather.tv yesterday. And this video is on MMS, aka chlorine dioxide, aka the mineral that I must not name on YouTube. Yes, this video has been a long time coming. A lot of people have been waiting for it, and I finally got it done and uploaded it to a place that's not going to get censored. And I uploaded it for free because I want as many people as possible to learn about and share this information. If you would like to subscribe to jordansather.tv for $5 a month to support the work I do, you can, but that's not necessary for this video. So if you'd like to watch it, a link will be right down there below. Now let's get into Q's post, starting off with this one they gave us early yesterday afternoon, and this one's all about the wildfires on the West Coast. So let's get into it. Q asks us, or asks us to ask ourselves, what happens when California is in serious debt and lost priority aid from the federal government due to sanctuary status? What happens when California is in debt and all attempts to obtain a bailout from the COVID-19 aid packages have failed? Because they keep trying to insert a bunch of bullshit into these aid packages, right, and politicize them. What happens when California is in serious debt and decides to implement resident overreach by extending statewide shutdowns? Huh, they must be hurting for money then if they can't get it through all these illegal and backdoor means. California's hurting for cash. Average number of fires in California per year for the last 20 from June to December. I don't know that exact number, but I would imagine that it's a lot less than the average number of fires from 2018, 19, and 20 from June to December, outside of standard deviation. You know, it's funny. I was actually thinking to myself a week or two back, I'm like, man, it's like mid-late August. I'm surprised that there's no fires raging all across the country right now that the deep state set, like we have the last couple of summers. I guess I spoke too soon to myself. Stated causes of fires. Get to that in a sec. Heat. What's the heat been like? Average temperatures of California per year for the last 20 from June to December. Outside of standard deviation? Has it been hotter? Makes me wonder, has there been any weather modification used to fan the flames of these fires, so to speak? Outside of standard deviation, power lines. Source? You know, a year or two back, that was a major excuse they were using to blame these fires on? Oh, there are faulty power lines all over the place. Faulty power lines? What about the year before that? What about this year? Are the power lines still faulty? I actually read a statistic from a study, which, you know, stats from studies, polls, could it be faked? I don't know. But it stated that 85% of fires are started non-naturally, whether it be accident or arson or something to that effect. 85%. So right now, when I'm seeing all these blue check mark politician shills like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama all tweet within the last day and trying to blame these fires on climate change, I'm sitting there like, are you kidding me? These sociopaths. Yeah, the climate has changed. The political climate has changed. So that's why the deep state got to set these fires all along the West Coast right now. Let's see. What California programs regarding fire prevention, forest and brush, have been severely cut? What other cuts have impacted fire prevention and safety? Wow, so it sounds like they've literally been making the situation such to where fires like this would happen very easily. Almost guarantee them to happen and then just spread like they are. Q gives us a link to the cpf.org, which is the California Professional Firefighters Association. This link, after Q linked it, got 404'd. I think they took it down. But I'm assuming, as you can see here, budget cuts sacrifice firefighter and public safety. So it was an article about the cuts that are making the situation in California worse for wildfires. How do you obtain federal money? Well, you declare a state of emergency and request billions in assistance. Welcome to California. Wonder how much they paid the people to light these fires, right? Next drop. Interesting change of events Q talks about. Well, first they link a drop that they made back in June, and this was about General Mattis, Kelly, and McMaster, who were supposed to hold a town hall with Anderson Cooper on CNN this month, apparently. I remember that. Huh, interesting. Q's saying change of events. I'm assuming that the deep state's plan or this town hall has been put on hold and they're switching things up. So Q says weekly false attacks plus whistleblowers, plural, false. So it was probably that they changed up their plans a little bit and then went with this bullshit Atlantic story that came out last week. And then this Atlantic story started getting picked apart. So now they're going with the news story and they're going to run that for a few days. And once that starts getting picked apart and people sniff it out, they're going to run a news story. So it's their propaganda operations like clockwork there in action for you to see. But we get these weekly false attacks. The Atlantic was last week. It seems like this Bob Woodward book that we'll talk about in a minute is this week. We get all these whistleblowers. So the first one was that supposed whistleblower, the Ukraine whistleblower that, you know, during the whole impeachment scare earlier this year, that didn't pan out. So now they have a new whistleblower. Who's that? Well, a supposed guy from the Department of Homeland Security. The fake news is trying to say that this whistleblower is complaining about repeated instances where he claims the Trump administration sought to censor or manipulate intelligence for political purposes, including information about Russian efforts to interfere in the 2020 elections. Oh, it's the Russians again. Hot shit. Big surprise. Well, a White House National Security Advisor went onto Fox News yesterday and literally said, I've never heard of this guy. Like, nobody knows who this whistleblower is. It's another fake whistleblower. It's more bullshit. Like I said, Atlantic story, that's getting old in the news cycles already, so they need something else now. Let's get back to Q's post here. So first, Vindman. That was the first whistleblower during the impeachment nonsense. Coordinated with Adam Schiff, AS, to spread a false narrative and insert Ukraine into that. Biden deflect, so that was to put a bunch of projection out there like Trump was colluding with Ukraine, when of course it was really Biden and all them. So they're trying to hide their own crimes by projecting them at Trump. Returning to the news, illegal. Adam Schiff, backroom prep, a second whistleblower. Adam Schiff, backroom prep, a third whistleblower. Jeez, where are they getting these whistleblowers? The farm? Growing them there? Out at the farm in Virginia? That's the CIA training center. Pentagon, SR 1 through 4, backroom prep, dry run campaign. USDI _JCS might mean Joint Chiefs of Staff. something else there. I'm not too understanding of all that at the moment. Refusal to concede the narrative. Challenge, legally battleground. Ballot harvesting. Everything at stake. Win by any means necessary. Plan accordingly. This all looks like they're talking about voting manipulation through mail-in voting. So anyway, yes, they're trying to win by any means necessary. That's why we've got the impeachment shit that happened, failed. Then they went into COVID. Now COVID, I mean, they're just trying to beat that horse as much as they can. We've got these new fake whistleblowers coming out. We got the race riots and Antifa all over the country. We've got the West Coast on fire right now. Just, yeah, win by any means necessary. Plus, all the assets out there that are getting activated, you know? People turning, they're going anti-Q. You can tell that we've got other assets, other shills that are spreading this misinformation all across social media on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and they're trying to infiltrate into the Q movement and trying to falsely attach Q onto a lot of this literal fake news, this misinformation. You got to be careful. There's a lot of propaganda, a lot of psyops going out there to misrepresent Q and make it look bad. So beware for that. This next drop, Q gives us some inspiration saying the swamp runs deep. Sometimes you can't tell people the truth. You must show them. Only then at the precipice will people find the will to change and to participate. That's the important one right there. That's why they bolded it and bracketed it, because we don't just need change right now. We need participation. We need people to get active and work for that change. That change is not just going to happen if we meditate on it all day and pray and just think about it. It's only going to happen when we do the work, when we put some action into it. And it makes me laugh very, very hard, shake my head, eye roll, facepalm, when people say that Q is a fake psyop, LARP, I don't know, whatever. They try to attack Q as being a psyop that's put out there to pacify people. And I'm sitting there thinking like, are you serious? Do you have any self-awareness or awareness of what's going on out there? Because what I see is that more people than ever over the last 2 or 3 years, because of Q, are now activated and posting so much stuff on social media, and they're talking to their friends and family, and they're participating. They're doing that work. They're acting for that change. Q has not pacified people. It's done the complete opposite. It's catalyzed them to start making things happen. So, yeah, that's a bullshit narrative always put out there to attack Q. And then this next drop, Q gives us a meme that says, the strongest weapon in the United States is a patriotic American. 2 more drops. This one is awesome. Q says, hello, Carly. Thank you and God bless. Keep charging, Midnight Rider. Hello, Carly. Who's Carly, you might ask? That is Carly from Twitter. She did a Periscope yesterday at 4:37 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time. And she named her Periscope Hello Q. It was an hour long. She was just covering a bunch of news stories, but she kept saying Hello Q in it, being cheeky like she is. And Q responded about a little while later saying, keep charging, Midnight Rider. Hello, Carly. I guess they were watching. They were keeping tabs on her, so they responded. And she does absolutely great work. So Q, deservedly for Carly, was shouting her out there. She just didn't get queued. That's not just a Q. She got named. She got named. So good work, Carly. Well deserved. And that just goes to show you that Q keeps very close tabs on all the work that we do. So thank you, gentlemen and ladies, if there's any there. Much appreciated. Next drop, last one we got, 4644. Q gives us 2 tweets that will open in a sec. They said, highly coordinated and funded domestic terrorism. Feds involved, U.S. rights, C might mean classified surveillance. I gather that they're telling us that the federal investigators and military intelligence are keeping very close tabs on Antifa and the paid insurrectionists that are out there. Media blackout, election gaming. So these 2 tweets, one of them is an individual, I guess a candidate for Senate in Oregon, saying Oregon's on fire. A pallet company in Oregon City confirmed Antifa arsonist on camera. Douglas City Sheriff has 6 Antifa arsonists in custody. Many fires in Oregon. Obviously, there are more to track down and arrest. Governor Kate Brown built this. They built this by letting a lot of the Antifa people that were arrested go. By, literally fanning the flames of all the shit that's going on there. And then this next tweet is from the Washington State Patrol, where a fire in Puyallup was set yesterday, and the person that set it was literally filming themselves. Genius move there. He is currently on his way to jail. Great job, everybody. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And these aren't the only 2 examples. I actually found a thread. I'll scroll through it here on the screen for you on Twitter, where this person detailed yesterday a whole load of different examples, including these, but a lot others, including one where an officer is literally on camera near Medford, Oregon, admitting that he thinks they were set on purpose, and a few other ones too. Just a lot of examples of arson. Like, these fires do not seem organic at all. They're definitely not. And like we were reading about California, the situation has actually been created to make wildfire seasons much worse than they could or should be. So it's just awful stuff happening. But hey, positive spin on things. I always like to, look at everything positive, because you can. I mean, it's just a mindset. You can look at all the crazy shit going on negatively, be a negative Nancy out there, or you can just put the positive spin on things. You might as well, right? So with all this stuff going on, crazy times call for a lot of people that are going to see that and start to wake up and be sick of it, right? A lot of people are seeing this and they're getting sick of it. So more people than ever are waking up, and that's exactly why the deep state is more desperate than ever and pulling out all the stops right now. So just sit back, enjoy the show, keep the fight up, don't get worried. As long as we continue fighting, good things will happen. So now let's get into, what's next? Woodward. Let's talk about this scumbag. Bob Woodward. Okay, so you might have heard bits and pieces from this story over the last day. The mainstream media is on a new attack. After the Atlantic stuff failed, they're on a new attack with Bob Woodward and some interviews that Trump actually did with him. So get this, President Trump agreed to do a bunch of interviews earlier this year with a journalist and author by the name of Bob Woodward. He's actually the Watergate journalist, one of the Watergate journalists that broke that story way long ago. Yeah, Watergate. And then he's basically been working for the Washington Post ever since. So Donald Trump actually agreed to do interviews with him, and he said some things that the fake news media are now attacking him incessantly right now over. One of those things is that Trump essentially minimized the risks of the coronavirus. He said that he wanted to always downplay it. Trump told Mr. Woodward on March 19th, "I still like playing it down because I don't want to create a panic." Now, some people are thinking like, why would Trump go and do that? Why would he talk to this Washington Post reporter? Why would he say these things? Well, again, guys, reverse psychology, 4D, 5D, a million D chess. What's Trump doing here? I was thinking of the analogy this morning of like a boxing match. So Trump purposefully stuck his neck out here so the opponent would swing. That's what they're doing right now in the media. They're trying to swing back at Trump for saying these things and claim that Trump was trying to downplay the coronavirus. Trump sticks his neck out. They're trying to swing at him, but you know how he does. He's pulling it back and just, boom, launching the volleys right back at him. Uppercut. So they're trying to attack Trump for downplaying the coronavirus. What's been happening in the last 24 hours? Because they're trying to attack Trump for that. That means that the silent majority that really aren't silent, the loud majority out there that are all defending Trump, they're digging up all these sound bites from Joe Biden, from Kamala Harris, from Clinton, from the fake news reporters. All of these sound bites from February, March, and April. Right when all this stuff first happened, when all of them were downplaying it. Gavin Newsom, we got the governor of New York, Cuomo, de Blasio, I believe even, mayor of New York, like all of these Democrats, so many sound bites have been brought up from them downplaying it, you see? So they're all trying to project at him for exactly what they were doing. So Trump is basically just being the battle ram that's making all of them expose themselves right now, you see? So I think that was the tactic behind him doing this. Seems weird, superficially. Oh, Trump interviewing WAPO reporter? Why? But then you see the fallout from it, and it's actually working in his favor. So that's what I think happened with that one. Let's get into now AstraZeneca. So AstraZeneca, huge pharmaceutical company, one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world, actually. They had to halt all of their trials, all of their studies, testing their coronavirus vaccine, and they're actually working with the University of Oxford in Britain for this, which, to compare it to America, that's like the Ivy League of England. So that's like Harvard or Yale of America here. That means that the swamp is deep in the University of Oxford. It's like a deep state university. Prime right there. But anyway, Oxford was working with AstraZeneca on this COVID vaccine, and a woman actually had a serious adverse reaction. I was told that she lost complete feeling of like her hands and feet. Massive neurological response that this woman got, which, big surprise. I mean, vaccines, right? If only we didn't believe all the fake medicine and fake science out there, we could have saved a lot of people's lives from vaccines. Speak about save the children, save our children. Yeah, there's a lot of sick child traffickers out there we need to save them from, but we got to save them from Big Pharma too, most definitely. So, that's not good for AstraZeneca. And in fact, AstraZeneca, I've been aware of how bad they are for a long, long time, because years ago I was studying AstraZeneca, big pharma companies, and I found how AstraZeneca was actually one of the, essentially a founder of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. They, or a subsidiary of AstraZeneca, a company that eventually subsumed into AstraZeneca, funded Breast Cancer Awareness Month back in 1985. And lo and behold, AstraZeneca manufactures blockbuster breast cancer drugs like tamoxifen. So, I mean, if you want an example of how corrupt AstraZeneca is, how many F's they don't give, there's an example right there. They sell some of the most expensive and popular breast cancer drugs out there. The same company that's funding Breast Cancer Awareness Month. You see that? It's like their own propaganda campaign. All those pink ribbons you see out there, they're all bullshit. That one's going to be a tough red pill for people to swallow, but it's an important one. A couple more tidbits, a couple more details on this AstraZeneca story. Back in July, on July 30th, this was reported by Reuters, a senior AstraZeneca executive told Reuters that the company had been granted protection from future product liability claims related to its COVID vaccine by most of the countries with which it has struck supply agreements. Holy crap! How convenient for that giant corrupt pharmaceutical firm. Back in July, you're liability-free, a bunch of countries say. You're liability-free from that COVID vax. Just whip it out for us. A couple of months later, they got to halt trials because a woman gets a response. That's bad. Poor lady, too. Okay, moving on. Next story here. Let's get into Dr. Phil. Wow. So Dr. Phil put out a segment on his show yesterday, September 8th, 2 days ago. And this one was about adrenochrome. Yeah, that's pretty surprising, isn't it? They put out this segment about adrenochrome. Now, I'll link the segment down below if you want to take a look at it. I'll just give you my opinion of it real quick here. This particular segment, I sense, was completely faked, staged, full of acting, which Dr. Phil, like Oprah's protege, basically, not too surprised, very mainstream. And the synopsis, what they're trying to do with this particular segment is that they had a family on there, and this woman on the right, that's her daughter on the left, but this woman on the right, she is saying that another daughter of hers who went missing 4 years ago or something like that got abducted by occult groups, and she is basically convinced that her daughter was abducted for adrenochrome harvesting. And that's the narrative that she puts out in this clip. Her daughter is the skeptic. She's playing the part where she thinks her mom's crazy and all this stuff. It basically seems to me like they staged these two people to show the mom as being nuts and then have that like broken family dynamic with one person being the conspiracy theorist. And the way they painted her as being the conspiracy theorist was just absolutely nuts. So I think by they, I mean like the deep state propagandists, the puppet handlers behind the scenes, manipulators, they're running psyops with just crazy subjects to make conspiracy theorists look crazy. Here's a couple thoughts on adrenochrome, okay? I don't discount it outright at all. We know adrenochrome is a very real chemical substance, and we do know it has been produced by pharmaceutical companies out there. But I think a lot of the claims and assumptions are just massive jumps to conclusions that people have out there. I mean, people will say it like it's a fact that, oh, these people, they're drinking adrenochrome and, oh, they're part of all these rituals. And, oh, I mean, again, there's a lot of stuff that's getting infiltrated into the Q movement right now that literally has nothing to do with Q. Go through all of Q's 4,700 drops, not one mentions adrenochrome, okay? So you got to be really, really careful with what you're believing and what sort of assumptions you're trying to pass off as fact. Make sure it's not passed off as fact unless it actually is. So yeah, a few thoughts on that. And last story I have for you guys is a fact check. Good old Sather fact check. This one couldn't wait till Fact Check Friday tomorrow. So it's dropping today, but it has to do with an article that I saw go pretty viral on Twitter yesterday. Here's Eyes on Q posting it. It says, breaking FBI moves on Dem Senator Dianne Feinstein. Orders her to hand over documents on her husband's stock trades. So Eyes on Q posted it. You can see 10,000 likes, 5,000 retweets. Went pretty viral. Mel Q, another person who posted it, same thing, 10,000 likes, 5,000 retweets. Caveat, this is saying absolutely nothing about Mel and Eyes on Q. They're good accounts. I like them in what they post, okay? I just wish people out there, everybody, would fact check their articles a little bit more before sharing them. So let's fact check this one. This is about the article, not them. So Right Wing Tribune is the website or the outlet that put this out. So first of all, I had never heard of these guys before, this website. Second of all, you can see how many freaking ads are just plastered all over this thing. Like, they're looking for people to click on their site, remember. And then third, okay, let's look at the claims. Dianne Feinstein got paid a visit from federal agents, which involved her husband, Richard Blum, wanting information over her husband's decision to unload stocks ahead of the coronavirus outbreak. That's all good and well, but when you actually dig into this story and start clicking on the links and seeing what they're saying, they're talking about news reports that were already public. This wasn't anything secret. It was reported in Breitbart here. It was reported in the Daily Caller. Like, it was reported around, especially conservative media, all the way back in like April or May. So this story is 4 or 5 months old, and it was already public. And a lot of other pieces of this story actually have nothing to do with the headline, nothing to do with these particular stock trades. So pure clickbait, like very, very clickbait. It's not breaking at all. This happened months ago. And the FBI didn't really like move in on her. It kind of paints a picture as like Dianne Feinstein's getting arrested by the FBI, not really. She was questioned, and we haven't heard anything more than that. So I don't know, 80,000 people shared this article, I guess, not really realizing that it didn't do a good job at all. Like, it was a bad article. So anyway, there's a good old fact check. I got to do more of those, because Lord knows, there's so much fakey, clickbaity crap just making the Q community look bad right now. And it's really important to talk about, because all the anti-Q media folk out there that are just chomping at the bit for anything they can to try to attack Q and the movement, this gives them ammunition. That's why this is important to defend, okay? Defend against, like, call out when we need to call it out. I'm going to do a video here soon of a few subjects that are really infiltrating the Q movement right now and making it look so bad, so bad. So anyway, Fact check your stuff. Stay safe, everybody. Stay safe out there. Next couple of months are going to be nuts, but grab your popcorn, enjoy the show, and, try not to get negative. Everything's going to be okay, guys. Everything's going to be all right as long as we fight for it and continue networking, continue supporting each other through all these times. So anyway, thank you guys. Much appreciated for you hanging out here with me. Remember, you can subscribe on jordansather.tv if you want to support more than that. You can check out Patreon and my consciousstrength.net website. Appreciate all you guys. Hit jordansather.com to sign up for the newsletter. Gotta throw in all the plugs here at the end. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, y'all.